Okay, so since I'm going to be a nurse in 2 months, I am going to talk today about listening to lung sounds using a stethoscope and what it sounds like to hear normal lung sounds and what some of the abnormal lung sounds are and what they sound like if there was an issue with someone's respiratory system. So first of all, if you wanted to listen to lung sounds, you would use a stethoscope. So on this end you have what is called the bell, and it has a larger side and it also has a smaller side. For most lung sounds, you'll be able to just use the larger side. So this is a flat surface, and you just put it against the person's chest, or you could put it against their back. On the other end, you have the earpieces. As you can see, they kind of angle in one direction, and you want that angle to go towards the front of your face. If you put them in the wrong way, then the little holes on the earpieces are going to get blocked, and then you won't be able to hear any sounds. So when you're listening to lung sounds, you should go in a specific order. So if you were to listen to lung sounds on the back, you would want to start up here where it says number 1, and then you would go straight across to number 2. So this way you could hear what it sounds like on the left lung and the right lung at the same time before you move further down the lungs. So you would start at 1, go straight across to 2, and then you would move straight down to 3, and then across to 4, and so on and so forth, until you reach the bottom of the lungs. Also, you can see that the direction of the lung sounds follows the shape of the lung on both sides. So if you were to listen to a healthy person's lungs, they would sound like this. So you can hear the person in that clip breathing in and also breathing out, and it sounds a little bit rustled, but there are no extra sounds, and that's what it would sound like if you were to listen to someone who was completely healthy. So now on the opposite end of the scale, if you had someone who had respiratory issues, one of the sounds that you might hear is something called crackles. And crackles sound almost like the crackle of a fire when it pops, or some people describe it as if you were to rip 2 pieces of Velcro apart from each other. So this is what crackles sound like. So crackles usually mean that there is excessive fluid in the lungs. So this might occur in somebody who has something like pneumonia or chronic heart failure or even chronic bronchitis, where there's a buildup of fluid in the lungs, which is why you're getting that very saturated sound. The next lung sound that we're going to talk about is called a wheeze. Wheezes are a very high-pitched, musical sounding lung sound, and this is what it sounds like. So wheezes are caused by a narrowing of the airway. And it's something that you would normally hear not when the person breathes in, but more when the person is breathing out. So this is something that you would normally hear in a person who is having an asthma attack because their airways have become very narrowed. And it's also something that you might hear in people who have COPD or even, again, chronic bronchitis, where their airways are always narrowed. So this might be a more common sound in a person with a chronic respiratory issue. And the last lung sound that we're going to talk about is called stridor. Stridor, if you ever hear it, you need to act immediately, because if you don't, this person is going to go downhill very fast. It can sound like almost like a whale or a seal, and you'll see what I mean as soon as you hear it. you hear stridor, it usually means that there is a foreign object in the airway, which is blocking the air from getting out. Or it's something that you normally hear if your child has pertussis or croup, and you would hear that more often at night than during the day, because the nighttime is a very hard time for them to breathe if they have pertussis or croup. And like I said, this requires immediate attention. So those are the main lung sounds, the normal lung sound compared to the abnormal lung sounds, and how to listen to lungs. So I hope that was very helpful.